What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another fantabulous, absolutely wonderfully amazing episode of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
Not very hot today, buddy. Not very hot.
Nah, I think we're going 0-17. I've amended my pick.
All right, relax. Let's not go that far. At least give us 2 wins, you know?
Yeah, that's true. We'll beat... Do we play Carolina this year?
I have no idea. I can't even tell you our schedule right now.
0-17.
Yeah, we'll win 2. We're gonna beat Washington and Denver, just cause fuck Denver.
There you go. And your buddy Preston will be on for that one, so we can talk some shit there.
Exactly. But for any of you that live under a rock, the Browns in our much anticipated opening game of the year got fucking pile drived 33-17, and that makes it look closer than it really was.
Yeah, we scored a touchdown in garbage time there in the last minute, so by that point, half the fucking people had already left the stadium. It was not a good showing at all, buddy. There's a lot to unpack with this one, I think. We'll kind of start with just the offensive line play, which we figured was going to be very bad this morning when we were texting.
That might have been the worst part of the game.
Yeah, besides Watson was fucking terrible. But a lot of the reason I think he was bad was because of the O-line. But as soon as Conklin was out and then I saw Wills was out, I knew it was going to be a bad fucking game. I almost hopped on our Twitter and amended my pick to the Cowboys because I was honestly debating it. But even then, still had some optimism. I was okay. We still got everybody healthy for the most part, besides a couple linemen and a couple randos that don't fucking play anyway. It'll be a good game. And then it starts, honestly, pretty damn well. Had the 3 and out, got the good kick return, went upfield, hit a field goal. And I'm all right, cool, things are going good. And then just an absolute fucking curb stomping ensued after that.
Yeah, I got outscored 20-0 for the rest of the half. And it just continued, man. It was the fucking... there's so much to unpack. I'll start with, like you said, the offensive line. You know, when you're lining up James Hudson out there at left tackle and then DeJuan Jones, who we like DeJuan Jones, but he was hurt for a good chunk of the game because he got hurt early on. And then Jermaine Ifedi, who's normally a backup left tackle, is playing right tackle. And then we're trying to block Micah Parsons, who... fucking shat on our line half the time. Then on top of that, fucking DeMarcus Lawrence shat on us too. I think he had 2 sacks.
And after the first possession, when we stopped them pretty much right out of the gates coming out, I was talking to my buddies, and I was I think our defensive line is going to be absolutely outstanding this year. We got this person, it's going to be great. And then everybody besides Miles, when he had that one strip sack or whatever it was, did absolutely nothing. Freaking Zadarius Smith once again. Underwhelming as fuck. I think he's just getting to the point where it's he's gonna have to hang it up. This guy, he's just fucking not doing anything for us. I think I only saw the number 99 once, and I don't even got a tackle on the play that I noticed him.
Yeah, he had a sack, but he wasn't much. Yeah, he had a sack later in the game, which was nice and all, but yeah, he looked kind of not very much there. Our entire...
He seems to do that whenever the game's over. In either direction. If we're winning by a lot, he'll get a garbage sack, or if we're losing by a lot, he'll get a garbage sack. He just does not make impact plays when we need him to whatsoever.
Yeah, he was fine against the run and all, but we really needed that pass rush because we were getting fucking murdered. And when you look at the numbers, if you look at it numbers wise, the defense played fine, really. It's just a lot of the issues is the lack of ability to move the ball on offense, and when you're going 3 and out all the time and turning the ball over, it makes the defense tired and makes it harder for them to get stops. So yeah, it's just a bad day.
Yeah, and kicking off the season too. In year 3, they even touched on it on the broadcast a bit, but this is the year we need to see Deshaun Watson come back to form, and so far it's not looking that way whatsoever. I'm really starting to believe he's just not going to be the player that we paid. I think we just talked about this a couple minutes ago, but I think in the first 5 games, we have some pretty winnable ones. I thought today's game was pretty winnable, not as winnable as some of these next few coming up. But if he doesn't go 3-1, 4-1, I think it's time to make the decision to just get rid of him.
Yeah, coming.
He was fucking bad today, bro. I mean, he had a couple of open throws where, like the one where he just fucking threw it in the dirt in front of Elijah Moore when he was wide open. He freaking was sailing the ball. Like his deep ball looked horrendous, and that's supposed to be one of the better parts of his accuracy is the deep ball and the fact that he was all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get into that. First, I'll go over the numbers before I get to my point. Deshaun Watson went 24-45 for a atrocious 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also got sacked. I think it was 6 times. He, like you said, I mean, missing open throws. Even some of the passes he did hit, like, were slightly underthrown or overthrown. A lot of times, if he even tried to throw it downfield, it looked like he was throwing to fucking nowhere, man. It was bad. I mean, he just looked bad. I mean, this is, I don't know if it's.
He doesn't look very explosive in the run game either. I mean, I'm sure guys, but it's like when you see those old highlight videos or clips of Deshaun Watson in Houston, it doesn't look like the same guy. Like, I mean, there's freaking highlight videos I've seen where he's fucking like weaving around like Lamar Jackson. He just doesn't look like he has the speed or acceleration anymore to get away from, and he's just not driving the ball well.
Yeah. I mean, even with his rushes, he didn't even quite eclipse 200 total yards, and that's on 45 pass attempts and 5 rushing attempts, which is an atrocious number to look at.
Yeah.
And he threw 2 interceptions. I mean, the one was like a tip ball that wasn't really his fault, but either way, it doesn't fucking matter. He was bad. I mean, he had a 51.1 rating, and it's just. I mean, you thought this was, of all the times, this was going to be the year where Deshaun comes out and plays well, and, he didn't get any reps in the preseason, and, Stefanski and the entire staff, whenever they interviewed him or was talking to him, had the utmost confidence in him and said that he looked like the Deshaun they knew and loved and when he was healthy, and, I really hope this was just rust and was a bad game and he comes out and balls, but based on what we've seen, it's looking like he's going to be painfully not very good. And this is a team that has so much talent. And, once Nick Chubb's back, that's even more talent. And it's just fucking depressing to watch,
Oh, yeah. No, I hear you, man. I mean, like you said, we have all the talent there. It's just the whole thing, touching on what you just talked about with Stefanski and everybody in the front office being very confident in him. It's weird that they say one thing, and then when we were texting back and forth in the first half, you're like, yeah, it kind of looks like they're keeping him on a rope still. It's like, it doesn't look like they have confidence in him. Just the way they were calling plays in the first half, like they were doing a lot of dink and dunk stuff, a lot of quick stuff, a lot of weird, like they tried that screen on 3rd and 10, which made no fucking sense. And I'm like, they're just doing stuff that, like, they're telling us, oh, we see it in practice. We see the Deshaun of old, and then they're coaching a different way. Like, they don't fucking trust him.
It's almost like
what they've shown me on TV is like, it does not look like they trust Deshaun Watson at all.
Yeah, it's almost like they know that he's not very good, and they're just trying to, pump up the fans a bit and try to, like, lie to themselves in a way. Because, like you said, they opened the game, and, like, the first drive didn't go too bad. I mean, he completed a couple short passes, and, we got down the field and stalled a little bit, but still kicked a field goal. And I even said, I'm like, okay, we're staying conservative with him, trying to knock off the rust. But then, like, 3 drives later, it's like the same shit. And I'm like, okay, dude, like, we don't have Chubb, we don't have our starting tackles. At some point, you got to rely on Deshaun a bit to go make a play. And it seemed like when they started to do that, he just couldn't. Like, it seemed like he just did not have the ability to do so.
Yeah, and I understand. We already touched on the offensive line being atrocious, mainly the tackle positions. So we get that he's going to have some sacks. He's not going to look the best when you're underdressed like that. But there's fucking specific plays throughout the game where he literally ran into sacks. Like, he's holding onto the ball too long again, or he's rolling out. He's trying to do some fucking AAU shit like that fucking Florida State quarterback. And he's either getting himself into sacks or he's getting himself into, like, shitty situations, and he'll throw the ball up. He'll almost throw interceptions, or he'll roll out, and then when he tries to drive it deep, he throws it freaking 15 yards over a dude's head, and it ends up in the fucking dog pound.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of passes where he dropped back and, like, had a somewhat clean pocket and, like, lets it rip downfield, and it just lands into the dirt by around a Cowboys, and, like, I couldn't even try to guess who he was trying to throw to. Like, it just...
Yeah. I don't know. Do you remember the one where he rolled out left, and it was a long developing play? He had made a dude miss, kept rolling left, and then he eventually got sacked. But freaking, like, as this play was developing, Amari Cooper's wide ass open. Like, he comes off his route, starts running across the middle of the field. There's nobody within 20 yards of him, and he just fucking doesn't even see him.
Yeah, there was one play too where he rolls out. It was kind of similar to what you saw. He rolls out, and literally Tom Brady on the broadcast goes, "Oh, he's got his tight end. He's got his tight end. He's got his tight end." Like he keeps saying it over and over again. He just doesn't throw the ball. Like it's, I don't know.
That's been a big problem. Is all 3 years. I mean, granted, this is on 13th game in a Browns uniform, but it's like he really fucking he does not get the ball out. Like I screamed on one play because he hiked the ball. And there's we actually had 3 seconds to throw the ball, and he just fucking sits there in the pocket and gets drilled. And I'm like, dude, either throw the fucking thing or do something with it. And then there was another play where he rolled out to the right, and he takes another freaking hit. I don't think he got sacked, but he went out of bounds. It was on. I think it was when we were trying to convert one of our 4th downs, and he's not even throwing the ball up. You gotta fucking give somebody a chance. Don't fucking take a sack on 4th and 4.
Yeah, it seems like he just doesn't trust what he sees downfield, in his own mental processing of the field, and it seems like he's just lost that touch that he had when he was playing in Houston. Granted, that's kind of what you get when you miss football for nearly 2 years, and then you've been in and out of the lineup injured as well. So, I mean, it just was bad. I mean, it seems like the only thing he's comfortable with is the quick game, quick slants, quick dump offs and screens, which you can only do that so much, and especially when you're losing a game by double digits. I mean, you can't rely on that, especially when the run game's as bad as it is, and the offensive line at the tackle position is struggling as bad as it is. It's different when you have a healthy line and Nick Chubb to kind of carry the load a little bit, and but you don't have that right now, so it all relies on Deshaun. And based off this first showing, it's against a good defense. Yeah, he might have been rusty and the tackles weren't playing well, but even with that, he just looked bad.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it, because we went for it multiple times on 4th down. I don't think we converted any of them, but just on a lot of those plays, it's I refuse to believe if he's rolling out and in the few scenarios where he did have 5-6 seconds to throw the ball, I refuse to believe that the fucking Cowboys had locked down everybody on the field. I refuse to believe Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, David Njoku was out of the game at this point, but I refuse to believe those 2 guys are covered for the entirety of that time. He's just not taking chances.
Or even if they are pretty covered, I mean, fucking give someone a shot.
Yeah, throw the fucking ball up. I mean,
you got nothing to
lose.
As
bad as the O-line was this game, it's dude, this is the same line Flacco had last year outside of Hudson starting for Christian. I mean, he shouldn't fucking look this bad. He just shouldn't fucking look this bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about Watson. He just wasn't good, and I think his leash for the rest of the season has to be super short. If he comes out against Jacksonville and New York and continues to play like this, I mean, fucking just put Jameis in the game. You might as well just get a guy out there that, might give you a better chance to win, because this team is too talented to not at least try to win fucking games.
For sure.
Especially like you said, the rest of the schedule. I mean, Jacksonville can be kind of tough, but outside of that, I mean, you play the Giants, who looked absolutely horrendous, so you have no reason to beat them handily. And then you have games against Washington and Las Vegas. There's no reason that we should play well. And, it's just unfortunate to see this play from the quarterback position especially. And on top of that, just to make our matters worse, Baker Mayfield out here for Tampa Bay threw for almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So,
yeah, I think he had 141 passer rating, which is absolutely ridiculous. I saw for the amount of passes Deshaun threw, I think you said it was, 41 pass attempts?
45.
I think they said 45. They said for any quarterback in the modern era that's had 45 pass attempts, he ranked in the bottom 5 performances all time.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So it wasn't just an absolute bad game. It was one of the worst quarterback performances of all time for any quarterback. It was just absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah, and I feel like that's all we can really point at. The line struggled. The running game didn't look great. Jerome Ford wasn't great. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but I mean, it just wasn't great.
I mean, they're missing Deron Bland, who just went down with an injury too. Obviously, they didn't re-sign Von Gilmore, and it's another reason why I refuse to believe that some of these guys aren't getting open. It's I get we had a couple drops. Njoku in the first half kind of reverted to old David Njoku, where he couldn't catch a fucking thing. But you got to be able to do more than that, man. Our team, we have too much talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, Hudson was getting around and kind of doing, or not Hudson. Parsons was doing his thing, wreaking havoc. Even obliterated Batonio on a play or two. But for the most part, I've seen Hudson play worse games than he played today. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, I mean, No, I really agree with you there. I mean, if I can give Watson one thing, he did make a pretty nice throw when the game was already mostly out of reach. He was getting pressured, and he kind of got drilled right when he threw the ball, but he heaved it downfield to Cooper. Yeah, he heaved it to Cooper, and it was actually a pretty good ball, and Cooper just dropped it.
That was his best ball of the day. I said that out loud. I'm like, his best throw of the day is dropped in the end zone.
Yeah, so it was just one of those kind of days. Felt like Watson was bad. Guys apparently weren't open enough, but I guess we won't really know that for sure until, we see the next couple games. And the run game was very much ineffective, and the pass rush was killing us the whole time. And when you look at the game, and when you look at it defensively, we got 33 put up on us, but it really didn't feel like we played a bad game defensively. I mean, CeeDee Lamb kind of had his way with us in the first half, but he was mostly quiet in the second half. I mean, Dak Prescott only had 10 more passing yards than Deshaun Watson did, and their run game wasn't all that effective either. But, it just the lack of offense and the amount of turnovers and 3-and-outs and whatnot just led to our defense having a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, with him too, it's one thing if you have those leadership intangibles and such, like a Dak Prescott or somebody like that, or a Tom Brady, but it's even the body language. Once we got down, it just looked bad. There was a clip of Deshaun walking over to the sideline, and Stefanski kind of grabbed him and pulled him in, and it looked like he was saying he clearly wasn't happy with Stefanski. And freaking Cooper, there was a play where he came back to the huddle and his head was down, and he was kind of shaking his head, and I'm just like, if this guy's not going to play good on the field and he's got a shit attitude, why the fuck is he here? Fucking people don't like him already. He could go the fuck off and nobody's still going to like him personally. So it's if the guy's a shitty human being and he's a shitty football player, why the fuck is he playing?
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, like I said, over the next few games, he has to have an uber short leash, because if he comes out and plays 1 or 2 more games like this, you got to fucking just bench him and look to get rid of him. I mean, they're almost at a point where if he's just flat out bad, you're gonna just have to eat the money and cut him. And as much as
pull a Denver.
Yeah, as much as that sucks to say, because we invested this much into him. I mean, at least we have our first round picks now, and Jameis. I feel like Jameis can at least keep the ship afloat, especially once
he
Chubb's back in there.
Can't be any worse.
Yeah,
I mean, shit, can't be any worse. He just breaks contained so fast too. I get you're under pressure, but it's he'll roll out right when he doesn't need to. He'll fucking take a sack. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so a lot of adjustments to be made offensively, and Deshaun Watson's got to get his shit together now. There's no more waiting.
Next 4 games are going to be the future of our franchise, buddy. Next 4 games are going to tell whether we're going to have to make a change and eventually just completely do away with Watson, or hopefully he can turn it around and actually be what we paid him to be. Yeah,
I mean, I would like to think by week 6 going into the Eagles game, we could at the very least be 3-2. But who knows at this point? We'll probably.
Oh yeah, if you're worse than 3-2, there's got to be hell to pay. Because if you're 3-2 coming out of those games, I mean 3-2 is still decent. It's if we're 3-2 or any worse than that, we're gonna get killed in the back half of the year with the teams we play. I mean, we got the Raiders, the Giants, so. You there?
Can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. What was I about to say? Yeah, I mean, we have Jacksonville, which, I mean, they'll be competitive, but it's a team, again, that we have a bit more talent than, so you have to beat them, and then, like I said, you have those tough not so tough, I should say, matchups against, the Raiders and the Giants and Washington, so we have no reason to not be at least 3-2, maybe even 4-1 after 5 games, even after today's performance. And if we're anything worse than, if you're 2-3 or worse, I'm fucking concerned.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying not to overreact. Give it to us. We're Browns fans. We probably are overreacting a bit, but for the first game of the season, with all the expectations, with how that stadium was rocking today, and just to come out and deliver that performance on offense, I mean, it looks like more of the same from last year. It looks like our defense is going to be pretty damn good again, and the offense is just going to struggle to do anything.
Can't agree with you more there, buddy. Can't agree more. Do you have anything? Do you have anything positive you want to say?
Hopkins is good still. Bojorquez is great. Our two of our 3 best players besides Myles Garrett are our fucking punter and kicker.
Hey, they're doing something. I will say Jalen Darden was kind of fun on the kick and punt returns. He was okay. Made a couple guys miss.
Yeah. Judy looked good in the red zone there on that touchdown that he had. Cooper kind of looked like out of it. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if something's going on because we haven't extended it. Like, we gave more money, but we didn't add any years onto his contract, right?
No, we did not.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it's just a team morale thing or what, but Miles was fine. Not his best game, not his worst game. He made a couple good plays. But yeah, positives, not much there, man, to be honest with you. I thought Jerome Ford was pretty much the same, like not very good for the most part. Pierre Strong got that one little good screen at the end of the game, had like 15 yards. He looked, again, in his 1 or 2 plays, he looked way faster than Jerome Ford is.
Yeah, he's definitely got some explosiveness to him. So hopefully during Chubb's absence, he can, make a couple things happen when he gets the ball.
Yeah.
We had no Deontay Foreman. None of him. He did not make an appearance, which is odd.
Yeah. I mean, we tried the run game a bit, but we couldn't get anything going. I really think, like, Miles Teller, why do I keep calling Miles fucking Teller? Not Miles Teller, Wyatt Teller was struggling quite a bit again today. I mean, there was some plays where I was thing like directly in on him, and he was getting beat pretty bad. Like, he wasn't doing really well in the run game, wasn't holding up super well in the passing game either. So, I mean, with a guy like that on a contract he's on, I might try to move on from him sooner than later. Start this guy we drafted from Michigan.
Yeah, I said in the off-season video that I felt like Teller was on his way out. And, I'm sure the line will look better once everyone gets healthy. And, you'll have Chubb back here hopefully sooner than later. And, it was a good defense we play against. So maybe you go into Jacksonville and, Deshaun can, have a little bit of a fire lit under him and he can play better. But we're just at a pretty low point in terms of confidence right now, in terms of at least this offense. So hopefully we can get it together and, go beat Jacksonville next week.
We need to.
Yeah, I mean, we have to, pretty much. But outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot else to say. Pretty depressing weekend as a Cleveland sports fan.
Yeah, not a good weekend at all. Guardians lost again today as well to lose the series to the Dodgers, so that kind of sucked. But
yeah, that'll probably be the next video.
Yeah, it should be. Just the way we lost, though, is really what freaking shocks you, because it's like, I was talking shit on the Cowboys all off season. Like, I don't know if, I mean, I hope it's not this, but if Sean really is that bad, then we're just absolutely effed. But if it was just a thing where we didn't get enough reps, that's the thing. That's on the coach, because it's like, why aren't you playing these guys?
Go ahead and repeat that. You cut out.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, I don't know if it was the Deshaun just being awful as a player, or if it was more of a timing thing, like we weren't playing in preseason was the issue.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's the latter, and, the offense was just super discombobulated, and we come in next week and look way fucking a million times better. That would be awesome. I just don't know how much I believe in that. And, yeah, man, do you have anything else you want to add?
Uniforms look great. There's
hey, that's
awesome.
True. That is true. The helmets look nice. At least we can look good while we lose, right?
Yeah, I was going to say the midfield logo always looks the best week 1 because it's not super tore up and shit.
Right. What a day,
yeah,
buddy.
other than that, that's about all we got, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely pitiful performance. The fate of our franchise for the next half decade probably lies in the balance over these next 4 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we appreciate you guys for listening. Pretty sad, depressing day here in old Cleveland sports land. We'll have a video coming out here within the coming days about the Guardians. They've had an interesting last few weeks. And then we'll have our preview for the next Browns game, and hopefully that one will go a bit better. And with that...
let's hope so, huh?
Yeah, let's fucking hope, buddy. But, with that, we appreciate you guys for listening. And hopefully we will be reporting back to you guys in a better mood. And it has been another episode of Cold Takes from the Land, and we will see you, hopefully, in higher spirits in the next one.
Cold Takes from the